Greetings, average shock dampener enjoyer Rigil Agateiades here, and this week on Battle Operations 2, we're getting busy, because with the new update came the big 30 mobile suit adjustment patch. Bringing much needed life to old mobile suits, these gigantic patches really are like adding 30 new mobile suits to the game, and today we're starting with the biggest one. Well, to me. This is the mobile suit that had gone from being meta to one of the worst mobile suits of its cost, and finally earning its redemption this patch, the 600 cost general type, Doven Wolf. Now before we start, let's just take a quick look at the stats to understand how bad it was before the patch. Yeah, it needed quite some buffs. With a rather miserable win rate of 42.9% and an almost record-breaking 31.3% win rate at level 2, the Doven Wolf needed buffs of equal magnitude. And that's exactly what we got. So what are the buffs? As always, first we have the health buff, and usually this is nothing more than some bonus survivability. This time, however, is in a different league. It's so much in fact that it's probably the single most important change to the Doven Wolf this patch. The health buff the Doven Wolf got this time isn't just 1,000 extra health, not even 2,000. At level 1, the Doven Wolf gets an already impressive 3,000 extra health, but we're not stopping there. At level 2, the 650 Doven Wolf gets a staggering 5,000 extra health, and the 700 cost one gets a record-breaking 7,000. That's an entire Zanny's worth of survivability. Just look at the amount of fire we can take. With this, the days of the paper Doven Wolf are finally over. With maximum beam defense, and in fact even higher if you use new beam armor, the Doven Wolf is significantly tougher. It's still not a frontline tank kind of tough, but at least you no longer evaporate to a single Young Favin or a support type New Gundam's Funnel Rush, which most of you probably have no clue how much I suffered from them. But this extra durability isn't just about survival, it's about letting you utilize the true strength of this 4th generation mobile suit. With the iconic shock dampener skill, the Doven Wolf is simply unbothered by any normal staggers the enemy can throw until it runs out of health, which obviously wasn't long at all before the buffs. However, starting from this patch, not only does the Doven Wolf get plenty of extra base health, it even gets back the damage control it lost in the nerf it got ages ago. This means the Doven Wolf now takes 130% stagger accumulation to stop, and even more at higher levels. The results of these two buffs combined are mind-blowing. After the buffs, the average number of mobile suit losses per match dropped from 4 to only around 3.2 across all levels. The win rate went from the miserable 30s to just above 50%, and most significantly, the average damage dealt increased tremendously across the board, even doubling at level 3. While there are other buffs to the weapons, there's simply no way that alone can achieve this level of improvement. Instead, this damage is done by spending less time respawning, less time hiding behind cover afraid of every trade, and even less time getting staggered. And what's a better way to show how effective these buffs are than pitching it against the one mobile suit that knocked us out of the race beforehand, the Engage Zero Young Favin! Our old nemesis gets the first shot, but of course it simply bounces off our shock dampeners, and with damage control, there's simply no way the Young Favin could stagger us for a melee combo. Instant stagger is enough to stop his melee, newly buffed incoms then get an accumulated stagger on their own. Stagger chained by overheating gets negated by the cycle field, but we've already grinded him down significantly. Second set of incoms get another accumulated stagger without the help of anything else. Wait a few seconds and we unleash the strongest move, the spread beam into a guaranteed down attack. 1v1 with 49 health left, yeah, I'll take that. The increased survivability is obviously game-changing for the Doven Wolf, but what's also nice are the new weapon buffs. First of all, the Doven Wolf beam rifle. While there's no damage increase at level 1, the hit rate is reduced by 5%, and more importantly, the charge time is reduced by a whole second, making it much easier to access the normal stagger on the charged shot. Then we have the beam cannons. Similar deal with the beam rifle, the damage increase is only applied to the Doven wolves at 650 or above, but it too got the 5% hit rate reduction. I still like to overheat them on purpose though. At last we get to the weapon with the biggest buffs, the incoms. Just like the other two weapons, the damage increase is only given to the higher levels, but when it got the 5% hit rate reduction, it's actually doubly effective as it fires twice. This makes it possible to use the incoms consecutively without overheating. On top of that, the stagger accumulation is increased by 5% per shot. Don't underestimate that 5% as it's enough to reduce the hits needed to stagger. Now taking only 3 hits instead of all 4 to stagger, the firing interval is also reduced to make it easier to hit, which is how we managed to stagger the Yongfavin twice in 1 duel. That concludes all the buffs on the Doven Wolf, and they're so good my mood had been great the entire week. Words cannot describe how much easier life gets not having to worry about funnel rushes. The only thing you have to worry about now are melee attacks, but even that can be solved most of the time with a single spread beam combo. That was the Doven Wolf, and I'm so glad that is back in full power. With significantly improved survivability, it can finally make use of its iconic shock dampeners without being scared of dying to a single scratch, and unleash its damage specs that had always been ahead of its time. And while we're on the level 1 Doven Wolf today, the biggest winners are actually the level 2 and 3 Doven Wolves. Not only do they gain the most base health I've ever seen, but they also get significantly higher damage on almost all their weapons, making them a good choice to try out if you're a shock dampener enjoyer like me. That's it from me today. Actually kind of glad that they didn't buff the death laser so I don't have to face them myself. And latest.